There are readings that the church has chosen, not just the United Methodist Church, but Presbyterians, Congregationalists, Episcopal, even Roman Catholic. We have gotten together and we have this common lectionary. So, if you're at a restaurant or at a store later today, you could just talk about what you heard at church, and it might be similar in terms of the readings. It's a common lectionary. Now, this story about Jesus cleansing the temple, Jesus overturning the tables, Jesus standing up for the poorest of the poor in this religious tradition that ground them down, this story is found in all four Gospels. All four Gospels, which means it's pretty important. It's in all four Gospels. It also takes place in Holy Week. Did I mention that? It takes place in Holy Week. So here it is in all four Gospels. Here it is in Holy Week. And do you know how many times it's read in the 3-year cycle of the lectionary? In 156 Sundays? Once. And from the Gospel of John, which really places it early in Jesus' ministry and not in Holy Week at all. Why is it that we're so uncomfortable that we don't read this story every Holy Week? Amen? Why is it that we don't face the reality about how the systems that oppress are sometimes the things that we're very much a part of? And that business as usual is too often what carries the day. I'm grateful in this season of Lent that we're taking time in this series to focus on these particular actions and pivotal events of the week. I can you imagine them with me, what the headlines were in the local papers in Jerusalem the day after this happened? The Jerusalem Post said, "Itinerant carpenter rabbi causes a riot in the temple." The rival Tribune on the other side of town had pilgrims to Passover interrupted by rowdy Galileans. And then the internal paper of the Passover that was put out by the religious leaders simply said, "Order in temple restored after unusual disturbance." Back to business as usual. Pilgrims, don't be afraid. Come right on in. We're ready for you. Everything's in order. When the followers of Jesus threaten to overturn our systems and structures that perpetuate injustice, what do we do? Well, you ought to be patient. You ought to be patient with these injustices. I mean, they've been going on for generations. Wait. Or rather, overturning tables, driving people, you don't want to do that. Being angry, no. Let's try milder methods. I know a denomination that's really good at studying things. Why don't we get a committee together? And we can just focus on how this injustice started and who's participating in it and what might be the 4 or 5 or 15 ways in which we might address it later. Or, in a very spiritual way, we could say, we need to pray. We don't do enough of this in the church. So when we face the injustice and the difficulties and dilemmas of what we're struggling with, I think we should just pray. And we should pray that God does something about it. I mean, it's not my job. Is it? Or when the followers of Jesus, like Molly Clemens, see the systems and structures that perpetuate injustice, wouldn't it be better if we who also follow Jesus said to those who want to make some difference, say, what side of the table do you want me to grab hold of as we turn it over?